High school season is kind of the big stuff's in the books. Now we're waiting for the awards to come out, Mr. and Mrs. Basketball and the all-star teams and that, but everything is just kind of a take a breath moment, it seems like.
Yeah, you kind of working on some of that postseason stuff today, actually, and have been the last couple days. But yeah, it was a good day at the state finals. Really, the first time in 3 years, it kind of felt like a normal state finals because 2 years ago we didn't have it. Last year was limited crowds, and even like the media had to sit way up in the in the balcony basically, and you weren't able to talk to the kids or players in person. It was over Zoom. So I know a lot of people have been dealing with that stuff at the professional and college levels for a while, but really at the high school level, we could still, even last year we could do interviews and things like that with a mask on. So, but the state finals was not, was different. So this felt like the first time in a long time we kind of got back to a normal state finals. And, I think the crowd total was about 20,000. Which it wasn't probably the best ever by any means, but it felt like a lot, for what we've been having. So it was a good day, I thought, and for Cathedral to come out and play like they did. Beech Grove was really in our area was really the big story, kind of the fun story, that the team that had never been there, and Matt English, their coach, had passed away 4 years ago from brain cancer, and then the assistant Mike Renfro took them for the first time to the state finals, first time ever winning a regional even, and they get it done. So great for that community. And, just it was a good day. I thought some good games, some a blowout to end it, but a dominant performance by Cathedral and a lot of coaches there, which kind of made it felt like a big spectacle too, with Tom Izzo and Matt Painter and a lot of assistant coaches there. Michael Lewis was there, kind of making his debut in his Ball State sweatshirt, and so the mayor was there, the governor was there, so it kind of felt like something that was a big deal again.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Michael Lewis at Ball State. Looking forward to talking to him here on the show here soon. But that's a big deal for Ball State. He's never been a head coach, so you can't say he's a big name in that regard, but people have been waiting for him to get a head coaching job and to get one in Indiana. Well, he couldn't have asked for anything better. Maybe Butler, but for a first job, but man, that's gotta be that's a pretty good landing spot for him. It's a tough recruiting spot, but with the portal now, and Michael can do some damage there in the MAC.
I really think so. I mean, and you look at the pedigree that he has, not only as a player, but where he's been as an assistant coach, would lead you to think that he kind of knows what it takes. It's probably good timing for him. I would say, I don't know how old he's. I think he graduated in '96, so he's probably 44, roughly in there. So you think it's probably a good time for him to to be a head coach, and has experience of various schools and levels, and he knows the state of Indiana, obviously, having been an assistant here and growing up here, so he's got that going for him, but he's also been other places, which I think can help you. You get out of the state and you kind of see what works, what doesn't work, what you can do. And it's not like you're at UCLA where it's, obviously very different as far as the players you can get, but I think he's going to be able to bring talent in. I think he's a good, in the gym coach. I think X's and O's wise. So, I think he's going to do well. I really do. You never know for sure, but it feels like Ball State really got a good situation with bringing him in. And, it's even a job that, it is, there are obviously challenges with this portal, man. It's totally changed a lot. I talked to Logan Imes yesterday, even about, him committing to Penn State yesterday from Zionsville. It was kind of maybe you'd say weird timing to do this right at the end of March, but, he even said, with all this transfer portal stuff, it's just crazy. So you kind of have to jump on something. Maybe the timing of it isn't what you'd want it to be, but I think he felt comfortable with Micah Shrewsbury, obviously there at Penn State, who's from Indiana, so there's a connection there. and you're playing in the Big Ten, so you're playing against a lot of the teams, who will be back here a lot anyway. So I get that. But yeah, meandering the sentence, but I think it's, really going to be a good situation for Michael Lewis. And I really think Ball State did a great job of getting the right guy for the job.
Yeah, and timing. I mean, just timing. It worked out. And good for Michael. Happy for him and his family. Of course, he's from Jasper. He's going to have to deal with living up there in Muncie. That's just too damn cold for me. This is as far north as I can go, man. I'm from Southern Indiana, man. This is
balmy down there. It's balmy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just, but I swear, when I was in school at IU, I remember it was colder. It was colder. Had to walk to class uphill both ways, the whole deal. But it was damn sure colder back then, I remember. But Tony, one of the comments, North Davis fan, happy with his 1A state title, wondering what Kyle thought of the timeout after the first free throw at the end of the second overtime with no time on the clock.
Yeah, that was one of the questions everybody kind of had about that. 0-0 on the clock. Can you actually call a timeout? And I talked to some referees later after that game, and then later into the evening, actually some of the ones who were working the later games, and they said because the game is still not completed, you can still call a timeout. The one thing I would have questions about, and they could have gone to the video review to look at this and put, because the kid was fouled. I don't know if you saw it, Jim, but he was fouled with, I think there was 1.4 on the clock. They passed the ball in. He took the shot, was fouled. Clearly a good call on the foul. But there was no time left on the clock as the game
ended. The horn sounded?
The horn hadn't sounded. I mean, he was clearly fouled.
That's the difference. There are some clocks that just don't show it deep enough, as crazy as it sounds. But when you get to that thousandth of a second and they hit the stop button and it's in that no man's land of 0 and 9, but it doesn't show it. I've seen that happen before.
Well, I've seen it happen. I think what they should have done probably, and it's easy for me to say now, days later, but I think they probably should have put either like 0.4 on the clock or 0.2, whatever, and they actually could have looked at that because in the state finals, you can look at a last second shot on video. It's the only time in high school basketball you can actually look at the replay, but regardless, if he was fouled with time still remaining, and he was, you went back and watched the replay, there's probably 0.4 left. Now the human, it takes human, scorekeeper a split second to actually, once he sees the whistle or the hand go up, there's a human error element. That's obvious. I mean, it's the nature of it, but I think they probably should have put whatever back on the clock and then had the players line up on the free throw lane. And I think I've actually seen that happen even without replay. Officials can do that, make that assessment, and put a little bit of time back on the clock. And I think that would have been better for the kid shooting those free throws where he's not all alone. You at least have some players on the line there with you. Your teammates and whoever, even if the other team wants to be there or not. But that would have made it a little bit easier in a really tough situation for that kid. I mean, there was almost no way, even a great free throw shooter, that would have been really hard to accomplish. And he rattled that first one in, then came up short on the second one. But I did find out you are able to call a timeout there, but I think they probably should have put a little time back on the clock.
Well, that's why I asked about the horn. If the horn hadn't sounded, I'm like, well, the game's not over. It's not. It's still within the confines of that deal. But yeah, you're right. 0.2 of a second would have been enough because I think 0.3 is what is required in an NBA game to be left to be able to even take a shot, to get a shot off, I think.
Yeah, it is. There was clearly he got the shot off. It was pretty obvious, but even watching on the replay, but and he did foul him. It was a good call. They got that right. So it ended up, I think, probably what it should have been. But yeah, it was real. I think everybody in the gym, even the North Davies people after the game, said that it's tough that it should have ended that way. Or it's tough that it shouldn't have ended that way. It's just tough for that kid, and I think everybody in the building felt for the kid. But he handled it well in the post game, I thought, and can hold his head high. I think how he handled it.